Whoa! What up, everybody? In this video, we're gonna check out Eternal Crusade's new patch. So join me. Let's do a breakdown. All right, let's see what we got here. So we're gonna start off with the Eternal Crusade Twitch that happened on January 13th, and we learned some new information. Most importantly, campaigns, balance changes, and a new map. Let's check it out.
The other question was campaign, which will be in the next patch. Basically, we are.
Well, this patch, this upcoming patch.
Yes, sorry. Yes, the next time your client updates, it will be the campaigns, unless there's some sort of horrible thing.
Thank you, Gork and Mark. Thank you, the Emperor. Finally.
So the immediate new stuff that you can expect to see in the game are campaigns and a new fortress.
Fantastic.
Yes. Those are the new things that are coming up very soon. But this is alongside tons and tons of fixes. So let's go through some of them right now. So I'm going to start by telling you what is basically already done and is guaranteed to be in the next update. So basically this is the sort of stuff that is guaranteed. It's not going to be all that's in there. It's just, it's already done. So it's guaranteed. So I'll go through the big list. So first of all, I increased the turn speed on the Orcs, Space Marines, and Chaos for the tacticals, support, and melee units.
Now that's an awesome change. This is important because right now it is super frustrating to have that turn speed. As any of you players might know, turning around to deal with an enemy when your turn speed is so slow is going to be a godsend for having to deal with melee or anybody else that gets the jump on you.
So basically, that long sprint circle that you had to do before has been reduced significantly. The Eldar still are the biggest, and the Orcs are still the lowest, but everybody has gone up significantly. Well, the Eldar stayed where they were, but everybody has gone up. So that should make basically general movement a lot easier for everybody. All right. Next, the weapon mods on RTS weapons will be allowed in the next patch.
That one has been a long time coming, and I'm glad they implemented it because a lot of people have been asking, if we get to pay for such a weapon, why can't we mod it? Why can't we mod it? So they're listening. It's happening. Be happy, mother pluckers, because it only gets better.
The next update, whatever that is going to be, so you'll be able to mod RTS weapons. Generally, across the board, it'll be just you can use them on them. There are a few that have some tricky things like scopes and stuff that may or may not be completely resolved, but the vast majority will just be, you can use weapon mods on them. Yeah. Also, a bunch of different changes related to poison per requests. The HOTS have the heal over times, like the if you stick someone with an Arthesium and they're still running around afterwards getting healed, or the heal stations that you thrown out. So the poison clearance has been reduced so that the heal over times are clearing less poison than they used to.
Basically what he's saying is that when you're poisoned and when you have a healing over time effect on you, they will cancel out.
So, if you are getting poisoned, you should not expect to see your health go down a lot. But, it's more of a counteracting than completely negating. In addition, we've reduced the amount of poison applied by the Narthesium and the Urdi syringe by default.
Thank you, Jesus!
So it was previously 50. It's been reduced on the Narthesium to 25 and the Urdi syringe to 33. But we fixed the Urdi syringe poison mod, so you can put that on. And it will increase your poison. Also added the Narthesium poison mod so that they can choose to increase their poison. Both of those cost 100 LP. So you'll be able to get a good amount of poison application, but it'll cost you now instead of it being for free. And the Sicky Slugga poison has now been increased by 40%, so it applies more poison than it did before.
Sicky Slugga.
Sicky Slugga, yeah, Pain Boy Slugga. Oh, and finally we've added poison resistance to the Mark of Nurgle, because it makes sense.
Yes.
So it's at 50% right now. There's a lot more stuff we're going to be doing with those, but I'll get to those further down the line. Still finishing up the stuff that's guaranteed in the next patch. There was a couple of weapons, unique weapons, that weren't set up properly. So, there was a unique Chaos Multi-Melta that was set up as blank. Now it's the Warp Furnace, so that's a new type of unique weapon for them. The unique Pocket Rocket Launcher has also been fixed. It's now the Pocket Slow Git Launcher. It has a special property that you'll be able to see. We fixed the Storm and Fury Tempest launcher, so now it fires one big projectile instead of three. We need to test it a little bit more, and we're going to be adding special VFX to some of these also. We fixed the Cannon Def Gun, which had the scope in your eyeball when you were bracing. That's been fixed. And the Chaos Fuel Regen is being fixed. There's more fixes than that, but these are the sort of like design obvious ones that we've gotten a lot of requests about and need to be improving. So that's all stuff that's going to be in the next patch guaranteed, but we're working on a bunch of other improvements that will be in the next patch and the patch after that. But it depends on what fits. These were fixes. We fixed the Fist, which was attacking too fast, and we fixed the SM and CSM Axe, which was attacking too slow.
Yes.
So there are changes to those also in the next one.
So,
Thank the Holy Emperor. Thank God. I can't even tell you that Power Fist and the Power Claw and all the power weapons that are of that level. That's the top level right now in the game. They are so annoying to fight as ranged, and you feel like you can't do anything. So this is so much better. The right direction. I hope they keep going with it. There's a lot to do, but this is definitely a good change, and hopefully more coming. Make it a very specialized weapon for very specialized units.
you're saying we unnerfed Space Marines?
Unnerfed. We are doing a fix that will slightly nerf them and a fix that will slightly buff them.
C.
But it's also CSM at the same time.
It's a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm going to jump into the big changes.
Yeah.
Here are some of the big problems that we need to address. Penetration is far too valuable right now in our game to the point is far too valuable at this point in our game to the point that you value that over.
In this point, I totally agree with the developers. That stat, the penetration stat, was maybe a good idea in a sense, but it was not well implemented. It was just kind of like quickly implemented, and I think we're going to see that with the reduction of penetration, bolters, chain swords, regular choppers are going to have more effect going in the future because right now it's basically power everything rules, and the bigger the better the tier is just better flat out.
For everything else.
Because that totally required explanation.
It did. We want to improve the interesting choice aspect of your war gear and your character. So that's why there's going to be a big loadout revamp. And jump units are frequently too powerful and taking over the roles of other characters. And to some extent, support classes as well.
Yeah.
Although that will...
This is great news. For a good couple of weeks, if not months now, we've had to deal with a jump pack being the go-to do everything class, everything but cap, and in some cases just revive people where they need to revive. They just do a little too much for me, and I'm glad to see that the developers have acknowledged it and are moving forward. And I have faith that they're gonna do the right thing here. I've seen what the previous patches have done to melee and to balancing, and so I'm happy. I think this is going to be a good thing.
Require a different solution.
Yes.
So I'm going to go through some of the things that we're going to be doing for that. So on the subject of penetration and toughness, right now, one of the big problems is that you have the chainsword by default, you have the power sword for a little bit more. But the only advantage of the power sword over the chainsword is that the power sword has a higher penetration. The intention of that was that you would take that penetration to counter someone's toughness. But because the default penetration of a chainsword is 80, whereas a character's toughness outside of certain Eldar is 100, that means that you're actually just doing more damage with the power sword. So we're going to normalize the system whereby the default of weapons like the bolt gun, the chainsword, etc., is going to equal the default toughness of a character.
Bolter buffs, how you like them apples?
So that way, a chainsword and a power sword are equally good against a character who has default toughness. And that's what we were intended from the start. Against a default character, the power sword points would be wasted. The
Yes.
power sword should instead be used against characters who spike toughness.
Yes.
And so we are going to try to bring back the importance of toughness,
Mm-hmm.
make it so that when you take toughness, even if your enemy has some sort of penetration, it's usually not completely annihilating it, it is just reducing it. So the intention is to bring back the usefulness of the chainsword and the bolt gun and things like that that aren't don't have a power component. And to that, one thing the Eldar players may note is that that would make the 80 toughness versus 100 toughness of the Eldar irrelevant. So for the difference between the Eldar classes, we're going to look at a different area of survivability. So basically, they'll all go up to 100 toughness, but we might reduce armor or something else along those lines. Okay, so that's our big plan with regards to the power sword situation. We're also doing a big look at weapon mods.
Yeah.
We intend weapon mods to become more expensive and generally more useful across the board.
Yeah.
So
not like now, like mildly useless and mildly expensive.
Yeah.
They would be expensive and actually make a difference.
yeah, exactly. Like we have some mods, like ones that add penetration, that are only 20 points or whatever, and amazing, absolutely amazing. You always take those. And then we have mods that are like first shot recoil bonus that are completely useless, and you'd never take them. So,
Exactly.
so we want them to cost more, but across the board be more useful. So that's one of the big things that Michael is working on right now. And that will also help us balance the loadout a bit better, because the whole point of the loadouts is you're supposed to be picking between the three pillars of survivability, lethality, and tactical power, which depending on the class is kind of different. But for example, anything that is like too cheap but adds to your lethality means that you're not making interesting choices. You're just like, yeah, of course, my lethality is just going to be better now.
Yeah.
And we are going to be adding heavy weapon mods and ammo mods for Eldar, because the Eldar are sorely missing those ammo mods, which could really help out on the Dire Avengers.
All right. So what do you guys think? That make any difference to you? Do you care? Do you think it's gonna change things? I'm hoping that that the campaigns are gonna add some kind of replayability, long-term connectedness with other players and your faction on achieving things and rubbing it on other people's faces and bragging and tournaments and it's all incrementally happening. It's slow, just like Nathan said in the Twitch stream, that the development's just slow. They happen to not be 100 million people being able to develop a game, but I've seen 2 years of this game. It's been updating slowly and slowly for sure. They did a lot of work during that 1 month of really rush, but I think they're getting it done. I have faith that it's going to happen. Maybe it's not as fast as we want. Maybe sometimes there's going to be delays. I honestly feel that when they say that they're going to do something, that it's going to happen. I don't expect it to be more than a day or two off, given circumstances. Nothing like that can really be predicted till it happens. But they're not like a month off either. It's like maybe a day. But most of the time they hit it right on the mark, or maybe even earlier. Especially this last few months, they seem to have patched the game like 12 times or something since September. So like every week, maybe at the worst every other week. Of course, the time between December 20th ish and maybe January 9th was kind of because people were on vacation. They are from Canada, so they get all that time off, but they're working their butts off. And I know that if you reach out to the developers that you want to, like the specific ones like Michael Chan or Brent or Noah or Nathan and Katie, they specifically, individually will give you a response most of the time, if not every time. I find them to be very cordial and polite, and they're there. They fucking answer the questions that you ask. Especially Michael. Like on Discord, I would really highly reach out to him, or anybody else. Michael's just my favorite to reach out to because I like all the statistics and the background information. But anyways, let's see what happens. All right, Bat Pimp out.